when I think back about watching you lift on videos and at meets and everything, I'm not sure if it's just me kind of watching it in awe or if it's actually something that's going on with you. You seem incredibly methodical from the chalk bowl to the bar to the lift and then afterwards. I don't even remember hearing music when you were lifting at quads and squatting. So, you know, what's going on in your head? You know, you're talking about being very methodical and getting these things and kind of going forward. When you see people who, you know, have to have their certain song on and then need to get slapped and do all this stuff in order to get up there, what do you think? A, what's going through your mind as you're headed up there to lift? And then B, what are your thought processes on when you see something like that?
My thing was I didn't have any variables to fuck up when I walked up, when I put chalk on my hands, when I started getting in the zone, when I started to focus on exactly what I had to do. What do I have to do to make this lift perfect for me? That's all I worried about. I took the same amount of steps up to a bar. I put my hands on the bar. I got underneath the bar the same way. I got tight. I wiggled in the right way. I wiggled my feet the right way. I took the air the same way. So I didn't have to worry about that. So there was nothing out of my control. Everything was in my control. And that dictates the perfect starting point to get better. Most people that usually need a lot of slaps and all that other shit, which brings me back to this famous slap that you got that you almost beat someone up for, is usually people that aren't focused or they have some type of a negative mindset creep in. Usually those are the guys that need something like that to try to fool their brain into getting fired up. I knew every time I walked up to a weight that I could get it because of what I had done in training already. So the confidence was already up. The only thing I had to do was keep everything the same. So then I was perfect.
Yeah, you're just perfect. Exactly. So going from the gym into a meet, how did you decide on, you know, how did you pick your numbers? How did you think like, okay, this is my opener, second and third? And kind of to build off of that, is there any meet that you think, oh man, I left way too much in the tank? Or was that kind of your thought process, was like, hey, I want my third attempt to look like my opener and not make it look like I'm breaking down? And, you know, because the only time I think I ever really saw you, and I'm sure you struggled, but something where I was like, oh shit, I don't know if he's going to make this, was that the Mountaineer Cup where you're bleeding and you really had a lot of trouble coming out of the hole with, I think it was 2008 or something like that. But everything else looks so crisp and clean. Was that a planned thing or, so how do you pick your numbers, and are you trying to leave a little bit in the tank, or are you just emptying it on your third attempt?
My opener was based on what I knew I could easily do for 3, maybe even 5.
Okay.
So that set up my confidence. So I know that part is out of the way because I'm not in my gym. I don't have my same spotters. I have a clock. I had to weigh in. I had to check equipment. I had all that stuff, which is not shit that you go through at home.
Right.
And yeah, you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. So So then after I got that out of the way, I would actually, it was more introspective where I would be like, what am I good for today? So then I would hit a second attempt on something that I knew I could hit with no difficulty, that if my setup was fine, I knew everything would go fairly easy. And then that was the final decision. What do I think I'm good for? And it had to be a definite, not like, oh shit, this one's going to be tough. Because if I think that, I'm going to feel for the weight instead of actually my intent to do it. So that's how I went. If I had more in the tank, it wasn't exactly planned because I set it up that way. It's like, what am I good for today? Not like I did this in training, so this is what I'm going to do in the meet. It doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work out. And some of it is like, this is what I expected to do. So I did it. If there's more left over, that's fine. That just means I had more energy left for the bench and deadlift. So I didn't worry about it.
But if you could go and whisper in your ear, going up to a third attempt, whether it's a, you know, squat, bench, or deadlift, what would you, if you could change just one lift, which one would it be?
I would change 2.
2? Okay, let's hear them.
I would have squatted more than 1019 that day. It would have been 1036. And instead of taking that 901 deadlift, now the 901 deadlift, I called for 898 because that gave me 2402 total at 220. It just so happened to weigh out at 901. I would have took 920 or something on my second attempt, and it would have been much easier. After I did the 901, it was anticlimactic. I think I let myself come down a little bit. So when I went out there to do it again, I pulled it up to my knees, and I was just mentally spent. There was nothing left.